Welcome back to another crochet tutorial with Cozy Rosie UK, and today I am sharing with you the final square in the Hodgepodge blanket crochet along. Today I am showing you how to work the classic patchwork. This square is made using the Tapestry crochet technique, and it's a great skill to have, really helps you practice your colour changes, and the pattern is fully reversible as well. If you've been following along with the Hodgepodge blanket crochet along, you'll be aware that there are 30 different square patterns, and today's is square number 30. It is the final square to complete our blankets, and I want to take a moment to say thank you for joining me for the event. Thank you for taking part. Thank you for sharing all of your beautiful photos of your squares. I also want to remind you of the grand prize giveaway, which is being held on the 30th of September. To take part in the grand prize giveaway, all you need to do is to share a photo of your completed Hodgepodge blanket, tagging me in the photo using the handle @CozyRosieUK on Instagram or Facebook, or you could just use the hashtag Hodgepodge Blanket CAL, so Hodgepodge Blanket Cal, so that I get to see that. Or you can email it to me that you shared it on your social media. There's lots of different ways to enter. You can find all the terms and conditions below, but all entries must be received by Friday the 30th of September at 12 PM British summertime. So not Greenwich Mean Time, let's say BST, because we're still in British summertime at the moment. So yeah, that's all you need to do to enter, is send me a photo of your social media post tagging me or using the hashtag Hodgepodge Blanket Cow, and you can be in with a chance to win a super prize. If you're not already subscribed to the newsletter, you won't have seen what's included in the giveaway, but if you're in the Facebook community group, you certainly will have. So to that end, make sure that you are subscribed to the Cozy Rosie crochet channel so that you don't miss out on the live prize draw. So the prize draw is actually being held on Friday the 30th of September. You'll find it already scheduled. If you're in the Facebook group, you can find all the details in there. I will be sending a reminder out via this channel, so make sure you are subscribed, and of course hit the notification bell so you know as soon as I go live as well. Don't worry, this isn't the last pattern that's coming out from me. Tomorrow, of course, you need to know your joining instructions and your blanket edging as well. But today we are going to make this beautiful patchwork square. So let's find out those materials we need to get started. The materials that you're going to need for the classic patchwork square is any two contrasting colours. In the original square that I made, they were quite a subtle change. So I used the light lilac, or pale lilac, and the tea rose. But for this video, I'm going to use shade number 202 and 242. So this is the tea rose and the champagne white. Again, I'm using my PaintBox Yarns Simply Aran, so you can follow this along to create an 8" by 8" square using any worsted or Aran weight yarn, so any size 4 yarn. I'm using the recommended hook size of 5mm. This is my Furls Streamline, the wooden ones. They're really great for beginners and for people like me who like to work quickly. I've also got, of course, a pair of scissors and a darning needle. Don't worry, there aren't too many ends on this one because we're going to be focusing on a different colour work technique with this square. We're going to be using the Tapestry technique when it comes to colour changing. I'm going to go through all of it step by step with you, so don't worry if you haven't done this technique before. You're going to feel much more confident once you've made this square. Gather all of those materials and let's get started. So I'm going to start with my tea rose as colour A, and we're going to be working in rows. So I'm going to start by making a slip knot and placing that onto my hook. We're going to start by making a chain of 26. So we just yarn over the hook, bring that loop through the hook to create our chain, and we do that for a total of 26 times. So make your chain of 26 and I'll be back with you for the rest of row 1. Once we have our starting chain of 26, we're going to continue with row 1 by working 1 single crochet into the second chain from hook. So remember, this loop does not count. There's our first chain. We're going to go underneath this second chain here and work a US single crochet, which is a UK double crochet. We're then going to work 1 single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, and with number 4 we're going to stop halfway through, because what we're going to do is to add in our new colour. Now when you see a written pattern that uses this Tapestry crochet technique, it's always recommended that you change colour in the stitch before you need your new colour. So what we're doing here is blocks of 5 single crochets. So we've worked our first 4, we did that 1, 2, 3, 4, and in this last stitch we're going to change colour before we start working the next colour. So to do that, we've stopped halfway through that last stitch, place our new colour over the hook, and then bring that through to finish off that stitch. Just going to pull on the original yarn to tighten, get a little bit of this next colour. Now with tapestry crochet, we want to be able to have access to the other colour at all times. So we're going to carry the colour that's not in work along our project throughout. So that means that we're going to work over the colour we're not using. So for instance, colour A is now no longer in use. So we're going to just hold it against our chain and work over it as we work these next 5 stitches. I'm also going to carry my tail for the colour B at the same time, just so we don't have to weave that in too much at the end. So once we've got our colour B on our hook, we're going to work 1 single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches in colour B. So let's do that together. So we're going to insert our hook into the next chain. I'm making sure that I've got my tail for the colour B and colour A held against my chain loosely, and just bring that loop through, yarn over, pull through 2 to complete that single crochet. We don't want to pull too tightly on any of these colours because we don't want to make this stitch any smaller. So we're going to continue to work into the next 4 stitches as well. That's 1, and 2. All the while I'm working over these ends and carrying colour A. That's 3. Well, I say it's 4, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then in the 5th stitch, we're only going to work half the stitch in colour A, and we're going to drop this colour and bring up colour B. Watch that end. I see how they're twisted already. Let me not do that. So once we've dropped colour A, we're going to bring up colour B. I'm going to twist them here just so they stay the right side of each other, and keep that tail against my work, and then complete the stitch in colour A. I can tighten that a little bit. There we go. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in colour A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in colour B. And now we're going to continue to repeat this pattern of working 5 single crochets in each colour across this row. I'm going to drop my end, so I don't have to work over that anymore. I can weave that in later because we still need to carry colour B behind or along our work. So I'm just going to hold that against my project. I'm going to double check that I've not got any loops hanging out of the back, and then we're ready to continue working 1 single crochet into each of the next 5 chains. 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're going to stop halfway through colour 5, put colour A to the back, ready to pick up colour B, yarn over, and finish off that 5th stitch in colour A. I'm going to turn over and make sure I've not got any loops of colour A or colour B showing through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. So we can continue again. I'm going to hold colour A against my chain as I work 1 single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches in colour B. It's number 2. 3, 4, and 5. We stop halfway through again. I'm going to check the back, make sure I've not got any loose bits of colour B. Make sure I don't twist them. You see how they are twisted? That's absolutely fine. I'm just gonna, don't want to pull too tightly on this yarn because it makes it all bunch up. So we're just going to yarn over and pull through, and then we can tighten that loop of our previous colour. Make sure there's still a bit of stretch in our project, and then we can continue working our last 5 stitches in colour A. Again, we're going to continue to carry our colour all the way along to the end of the row. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now normally we would change colour into colour B because we're going into the new row, but we're going to stack these colours or these patches on top of each other. So we continue to complete our final stitch in colour A, and then we are ready to work on, I just wanted to show you, I could just feel that behind my project. So you can see how I've got some bobbles there. If I gently pull, show you properly, gently pull on that, it just releases those bubbles so that you can't see that colour being carried underneath. So at the end of row 1 you should have 15 single crochets in colour A and 10 single crochets in colour B. Continuing into row 2, just going to double check I'm not twisted. If you are, don't worry, take a moment just to put your work down and untwist your yarn because it can get quite hard work if it gets really twisted. So we start with a chain 1, and we're going to continue with colour A, and we need to carry colour B behind with us. So I'm just going to place that alongside, I'm going to drop that for a moment, just get that into the right position so we can work over colour B. So I'm going to move it out of the way so I can see that first stitch just underneath there. Insert my hook and continue to work 1 single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. That's number 2, 3, 4, and in number 5 we're going to get ready to change colour. So we drop colour A and pick up colour B, and we just complete that 5th stitch with our new colour. We're going to continue to carry colour A along as we work 1 single crochet in the next 5 stitches in our colour B. That's number 3, 4, and 5. Oh, got to stop and drop to pick up our next colour, double checking there's no loops behind, ready to complete in colour A. We're then going to continue to work 1 single crochet on top of these same colours again. So that's 5 single crochets worked in colour A. 3, 4, and 5. We're going to stop, ready to change colour again and pick up colour B. Ready to complete that last stitch in our new colour. I'm going to carry colour A along, completing 1 single crochet in the same colour and working 5 single crochets. That's 4, and in number 5 again we're going to stop halfway through and change colour. We're going to finish this row working 1 single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches, and in row 3 we're going to repeat row 2 again, so we don't need to change colour in this final stitch. We're just going to be ready to turn and continue. So for rows 3 and 4 we're going to repeat row 2. If you need to, you can click the timestamp below to go back to the beginning of row 2 and follow along. Essentially what you're going to be doing is working 5 single crochets in the corresponding colour. So if we were to turn, do our chain 1, ready for the start of row 3, we're going to start with colour A, remembering to carry that colour B alongside, and then change colours in that 5th stitch, ready to continue. So work rows 3 and 4, and I'll meet you back for rows 5 to 8. Once we've completed rows 3 and 4, you should now have some very nice looking patchwork. And we're going to continue into rows 3 and 5, but they're worked with the alternating colour on top of the blocks. So we're making our colour B block on top of our colour A, and our colour A block on top of colour B. So I thought I'd start row 5 with you. So I'm going to change colours by doing my turning chain in colour B, and then pulling down on our first colour, ready to turn. So we're now going to carry colour A and work in colour B. So just like we did before, we're going to work 1 single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches, but this time we're working colour B on top of colour A. That's number 4. And then of course into number 5 we're going to just work half of that stitch, ready to change to back to colour A, to work colour A on top of colour B. We just continue working 1 single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches, but we're alternating or changing the colour that's worked on top of each other. Oh, nearly did it. We need to change colour, Fiona. So we're just going to change over to colour A. Check I've not got any lumps. That's good. And then we're ready to continue. Just remember to carry that colour as you work so that you're not leaving that behind, because you're going to need it ready to change colours. Yeah, so we can change back to colour A. So now that we've established the pattern, we're going to have 4 rows worked in alternating blocks of colour. So for rows 5 to 9, we've already started row 5. We're going to work the same as we worked row 2 to 4, but we're working a square of colour B over the square of colour A, and square and colour A over the square of colour B. Once we've completed rows 5 to 8, we're going to go back for rows 9 to 12, working again as we've done as row 2, but we work colour A on top of colour B and colour B over colour A. And that's going to change that patchwork look all the way up this project. So continue to work rows 5 to 8, working colour B over colour A and colour A over colour B, and then repeat the colour blocks again, alternating them. And you can continue to work that all the way up until your square measures 8 inches. For an estimate, it will be a total number of rows of 28. You might only need 24, but just give it a quick measure when you reach a total of 24 rows. Once you've made your square 8 inches tall as it is wide, I will meet you back here for our edging. Remember to continue carrying your colours all the way up and working alternating colours on top of these blocks of 4 rows. And I'll meet you back shortly for our edging. So I have finished my 28th row, and my patchwork for the moment is almost complete. Just got the edging left to do. I'm super proud of how well this has turned out. I will admit I've already steamed my square to get just to double check that the width was correct. It was, but it did need a blocking and a stretch out to get the width that I needed. Now I fastened off colour B because I'm going to continue to work my edging in the final colour, which for me was colour A. And for our edging, we're just going to work into the end of each row down and then work a corner in each. So for that, I'm just going to place 1 single crochet. I've done a chain 1, I should mention that, shouldn't I? Done a little chain 1, and then I'm going to work on the side of my square, working 1 single crochet into the end of each row. What this edging is going to do is just cover up any of those colour changes where we had at the end of the rows, and just neaten up the project all the way down. So work all the way down and we'll work our first corner together. So once you've worked down the first side, I'm going to work into my first chain, working 1 single crochet, a chain 1 and another single crochet. Then I'm ready to work along the other side of my chain, and again I'm just going to work into each stitch across to the other side of our chain. So complete that and I'll meet you at the other side ready for our corner. I'm going to work my corner where my slip stitch is, so that's just once again 1 single crochet, a chain 1 and another single crochet into that same stitch, and then we're ready to work back up the side, working into the edge of each row. I'm going to work over my tail so I don't have to weave that in either. So work all the way up and I'll meet you for our next corner. So I'm going to work my corner into this last stitch just before the top of that row. And we don't need to slip stitch because we're still going to work one last row across the top of these stitches so that there is the same edging the whole way round. So work 1 single crochet into the top of each stitch and then we're ready to work our final corner over here. I'll meet you there in a moment. So I've just reached my last stitch, which is where I'm going to place my corner. 1 single crochet, a chain 1 and a final single crochet, ready to slip stitch into that first single crochet we made down the side, and then we are ready to fasten off colour A. And there we have our completed patchwork square. Now this is actually a huge favourite of mine, just the simplicity of the colour work, which once you've got the hang of it is really easy to do, and I love the fact that it's fully reversible. It looks a bit like a picnic blanket. I could imagine a whole blanket done like this. It would be really cute, but a lot of work. Colour work isn't my favourite, but I hope that you've enjoyed learning this technique and mastering the tapestry crochet technique and creating your very own patchwork square. So sadly, this is the last square to be featured as part of the Hodgepodge blanket crochet along. I'd nearly forgotten while I was doing this filming that this is the last one, and I think it's a great square to end on. I really hope that you've enjoyed in taking part in working on every single square within the Hodgepodge blanket crochet along. As I told you at the beginning of the video, there is a grand prize giveaway being hosted on the 30th of September. If you share a photo of your completed Hodgepodge blanket and tag me in the photo using the hashtag HodgepodgeBlanketCal, C-A-L, you will be entered into the prize draw. To go and find out more details about the prize draw, you can just click the link in the description box and it will take you through to see the details. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you already subscribed to the Cozy Rosie Crochet channel. There's a lot more free crochet patterns to come, along with lots of different techniques too. It's been an absolute pleasure showcasing the Hodgepodge blanket crochet along with you, and I can't wait to see you join me for another pattern tutorial, crochet along, tutorial, just a general chit chat. I will see you all again soon, and until then, keep it cozy.